All right, let's just get right into it. If you're an early stage founder, listen up, because we're about to take a core belief of the startup world and just flip it on its head. The big idea here? Funding is not the prize you're chasing, execution is. Come on, you've said this, right? I mean, every founder has. It's that constant thought, if we could just land that one big check, we could finally hire those engineers, or launch that marketing campaign, or, whatever. It's this deep-seated belief that money is the cure for everything. I know. That probably sounds completely backwards, but just hang with me for a second. What if the very thing you're spending all your energy chasing is actually a trap? What if raising a ton of money before you're ready is the single riskiest thing you could do for your company? Let's dig into why that might be true. Okay, so first things first, we have to bust this myth wide open. The idea that capital is some kind of magic wand that you can wave to solve all your startup problems, well, it's one of the most dangerous stories we tell ourselves. See, here's the founder's dream, right? Capital is the cure-all. It'll fix the product, it'll solve the sales slump, it'll make everything better. But the hard reality, capital is just an accelerant. It's basically gasoline. Now, if you've got a nice, controlled campfire going, that gasoline can help you build a bonfire. Awesome. But if what you really have is a dumpster fire of bad processes and a shaky product, well, you don't fix the problem. You just get a much, much bigger and more expensive dumpster fire. Just let that one sink in. More companies have literally been destroyed by having too much cash than have been saved by it. See, too much money lets you ignore your problems. It encourages you to spend wastefully, and it lets you put off making the really tough calls that, actually build a strong business. So, if capital isn't the answer, what is? And that brings us to the real hero of this story, execution. This is the thing that actually powers growth. It's the engine, not the fuel.
So what do we actually mean when we say execution? Look, it's not just about grinding or working harder. It's about how you use what you have, your time, your money, your people. It's about building systems that work without you. And maybe most importantly, it's about learning and adapting faster than everyone else out there.
And that's the fundamental difference, right? Capital is just a number in a bank account. It's inert. It can't write a single line of code. It doesn't pick up the phone and convince a customer to buy. And it definitely doesn't figure out a repeatable way to grow your business. People, processes, systems, that's execution. That's what does the real work.
Okay, so if execution is so critical, how in the world are you supposed to get it when you're a tiny startup with limited resources? Well, that's where this new model comes in, the operator network.
We all know the old model, right? The traditional advisor who gives you a few pep talks, makes an intro or two, and takes a nice chunk of your company for it. But the operator model, it's completely different. These folks aren't just talking heads. They are hands-on executors. They've been in the trenches, they've built things before, and crucially, they come with playbooks that are already proven to work. And think about the benefits for you, the founder. It's huge. You get top-tier leadership exactly when and where you need it, but without having to pay a massive C-suite salary. You avoid that terrible risk of hiring someone who's a bad fit for your culture. You get to skip that painful 6-month onboarding where nothing gets done. You just plug them in and you get one thing, output. I absolutely love this metaphor for how this works. When an operator network is helping a bunch of different startups, something amazing happens. A lesson learned in one company, say, a new way to lower ad costs, instantly becomes a tested playbook for everyone else in the network. You stop being this lonely little boat trying to survive a storm. Suddenly, you're part of a coordinated fleet, sharing intel, moving faster, and winning together. And this all points to a really critical shift in mindset for founders. You've got to move away from relying on these one-off moments of individual brilliance and start building something way more powerful, systems. This right here, this is the whole game. You just can't scale one person's genius. It doesn't work. It becomes a bottleneck. Real, lasting scale only comes when you build repeatable, reliable systems that other people can run. That's the difference between a project and a real company. You hear that phrase all the time, right? We're building the plane while flying it. And it sounds heroic, but the founders who really win, they're doing something else. They're not just scrambling to build one plane. They're thinking about how to build a whole fleet. And they're writing the instruction manual as they go, so that every single plane after the first one gets built faster, better, and cheaper. An operator network basically hands you that manual on day one. This just completely flips the economics of how you grow.
The old way to try something new was what? Hire a VP, give them a huge budget, wait 6 months, and just cross your fingers and hope it works. The new way? You grab a playbook that's already been tested, you copy, you paste, and you start iterating from there. You're learning 10 times faster for a fraction of the cost. I mean, that is some serious leverage. And this is really the ultimate way to think about it. We're talking about execution as a utility. Think about what Amazon Web Services did for tech. Before AWS, you had to buy all these expensive servers. It was a massive capital cost. Then, suddenly, server infrastructure became this cheap, on-demand utility you could just rent. Operator networks are doing the exact same thing, but for senior executive talent. You get to rent the horsepower, but you get to keep the equity. So, what does this all mean for you as the founder? Well, it changes your job description. You get to stop being the chief firefighter who's constantly running around exhausted. Instead, your main job becomes being a really smart allocator of these high-impact, on-demand resources. Now, a common fear is, wait, if I bring in all these outside people, am I going to lose control of my own company? And that's a fair question, but it's actually the total opposite. This isn't about outsourcing your vision. It's about getting the right help to turn your vision into reality way faster than you could on your own. You're gaining speed, not giving up the steering wheel. And look, you can actually put this into practice like right now. Here's a simple playbook. Step 1, do a really honest self-audit. Where are we actually stuck? What's broken? Step 2, test before you marry. Don't hire someone full-time. Run a 90-day sprint with an operator on one specific problem. Step 3, measure the output. And I don't mean feelings or good vibes. I mean hard numbers. Is pipeline growing? Is churn going down? And finally, step 4, based on that data, you either scale up the project or you just move on. No hard feelings, no drama. In the end, the founders who really crush it with this model all share this mindset. First, they diagnose their problems before they just throw money at them. Second, they align everyone's incentives around short-term results, sprints, not salaries. And third, they figure out that magic balance of retaining control of their vision while getting massive leverage from outside experts. So, if there's only one thing you remember from all of this, let it be this. Startup culture screams at you to just do more, work harder, grind it out. But true scaling, it isn't about putting in more hours. It's about building smarter systems and finding better leverage. And so, we'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. Every single founder needs help. That's a given. So the question you should be asking yourself isn't if you need it. The real question is, how are you going to get it? How are you going to stop building that one fragile plane and start building your fleet?